All right, listen, we got a long night tonight, so let's get on with our first guest. I said he's hailing from Long Island. Comedian John Consoli.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Johnny P. looking good tonight. Johnny lost a ton of weight. How much you lose, man, since the last time I was here? 20 pounds, I found. 20 pounds, Johnny P. I found it. Now, you know what? Summer's coming. I've been trying to lose it. I've been struggling the weight thing my entire life. I was a fat kid growing up, like Johnny said. My name's John Consoli. My nickname growing up, Roly-Poly Consoli. And thank you, compassionate people. I appreciate that. No, it's okay. I'm used to it. I got picked on growing up, too. Like, every morning, it'd be like, hey, fat ass, what'd you have for breakfast? A dozen cannolis? A ton of fun. Did you steal a tray of lasagna out of Mom's refrigerator last night? I'd be like, Dad. At any rate, my dad was a trip. You know, he was a self-educated man. He had a 6th grade formal education. He dropped out, but he always strived to be better. He used to carry this book of Proverbs in his pocket, Ben Franklin's Proverbs, and he'd memorize them. Not only would he memorize them, he'd do what we comedians call punch them up. He tried to make them better. Let me give you an example. Here's one of Dad's Proverbs. He would say things like, haste makes waste, and waste management is a legitimate business. That was my old man. I have a lot of memories of him when I was a kid. I can remember being about 6 or 7 years old, playing with my toys. Dad was sitting in his chair, and he said to me, hey, kid, come here. Kid, he called me kid a lot. I don't think he knew my name. He said, kid, come here and tell me, what did they teach you in that fancy school that we send you to? Fancy school, they sent me to Catholic school. Here's my chance to impress my dad, so I figured what better than to use a proverb. I looked at him and said, Dad, today at school, they taught us, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. My old man said, that's ridiculous. Sit down. I said, Dad, what? He said, life lesson, son. Listen very carefully and learn something. If you give a man a fish, that man now owes you a fish and a half. And it will go up half a fish a week until he's able to repay you in full. The wisdom of my dad teaching me about the VIG when I was a 6-year-old kid, right? So I'm from Long Island, from a small boating community called Wantaw, right by the gateway to Jones Beach. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but great, yeah, from out there? Okay, so here's a boating story, also involves my dad. When I was a kid, my 13th birthday, my dad was home from college. You guys know what that means, right? All right, I'm in Staten Island. I figured you'd know. My dad's home. I'm 13 years old. My dad takes me down to a boat dealership by my house and says, son, pick out any boat you want. Happy birthday. 13 years old, picking out a boat. That's not bad, except I never seen my father work a day in his life, so I'm a little concerned how we're going to pay for this boat. I see the tag on a boat. I pick out the one I want. I go, Dad, we're going to be okay with this? He goes, another life lesson, son. It doesn't matter what the boat costs. They got this thing called time payments. You take what you want. You pay a little bit every month. It's all good. Listen to the genius of this. You know how many of these time payments you can miss before they come and take back the thing you've been paying for? 3. You know how long the boating season is on the South Shore of Long Island? 3 months. It's perfect. The end of the season, all of our neighbors were running around going, how are we going to get this boat out of the water? The repo man comes, does it for my old man. Genius. But that was back in the 1960s. You can't do this today because the world has changed. Back then, you could walk into a man's place of business, look him in the eye, shake his hand. A man's word was his bond, and you had a business deal. Not so today, because young people today, and even us older people, got to deal with this insidious thing called FICO. Everything you want to buy, they check your FICO. FICO this, FICO that. My old man personally responsible for that. Because when they saw him coming, they used to say, friggin' Italian, cash only. Oh, we're growing. Thank you. That's wonderful. That's what I came here for tonight, to Staten Island. It's great to be here in Staten Island tonight. I bet you don't hear that much. But there's some of my friends are here tonight from the Jersey Shore. Give it up for my folks from the Jersey Shore. Love them. The place, not the TV show, maybe a little both. I was down there last year doing a fundraiser last summer for the folks in Seaside Heights who were victims like me of Superstorm Sandy. We went down there to raise some funds for those folks. I lost my house in the storm. Well, I lost my house in a divorce, and I got another house, and I lost it in a storm. It's a story for another day. And I'm very proud, by the way, very proud of my Italian heritage. Always say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very proud, since my father's family came over to Manhattan Island on the boat from Staten Island. So we're doing this fundraiser, and I'm watching these guys sit in the front, and they got the T-shirts on, and you know the logo, the slogan, right? It says, "Stronger than the storm." And I had to stop, and I looked at them, and I said, guys, not stronger than the storm, never stronger than the storm, but take heed. You can be smarter than the storm. They said, John, how do we do that? I said, stop building shit on the beach. I'm John Consoli. You guys have been great. Thank you very much.
How you doing, brother?
Good to see you. You're looking great. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Last time I saw John, when I met John, was last year. Actually, a year from this month, one day. It was June 27th. June 27th.
Exactly.
We had the 75th celebration of the Late Night with Johnny P show. It was a roast. And he was one of the guys that was roasting me.
And now you're roasting me. It's like 4 billion degrees in here.
But it was, you know, you can't please everybody.
I know, I'm tough.
You know, you got all the ladies get cold, the guys get hot.
You can't make everybody happy.
You know, we ran out of blankets.
All right.
So now, listen, why don't you talk about this one-man show that you've been doing?
Oh, yeah. I wrote and produced a one-man show. It's called You Don't Get to Wear That.
Yes.
And I did it the first time about 6 weeks ago out on Long Island. Really excited about it. It's autobiographical. I tell some stories about my dad, and it's about the relationship between a man and his son growing up and how that impacts us when we become fathers, you know?
Yeah.
And in some cases, you know, you watch what your dad did and you replicate it. In some cases, you go, maybe I don't want to do that. But
the things that you don't want to do, your father did, you want him doing.
Exactly.
I do it.
Exactly.
Certain things.
Yeah, the thing he did that I can't get away with is he can't crack a kid anymore, so I think.
Yeah, they call the cops on you.
Yeah.
I tell my mother now, because my mother used to hit me a lot with the wooden spoon and kick.
The wooden spoon, right? My mother was like a ninja with that thing.
But I tell her now, I go, you know, I could have got you arrested back in the day. She goes, yeah?
Yeah. Imagine that, picking up the phone on your old man. Go ahead.
No, these
dial.
kids are unreal today.
Forget it. My father used to beat me for stuff that happened while he was beating me.
Now listen, you've been on the road touring.
Yes.
I mean, the lifestyle to that has to be pretty brutal, almost like a rock and roll guy, like, right?
Oh man, you know what, Johnny? It's the time. It's like that Bob Seger song I think sings. You know, when you're out on the stage, it's great, but the day sitting around, you don't have a whole lot to do. It's not that glamorous, man. It really isn't. You know. Here's how I know I've been on the road too much. I can make an origami vagina out of a shower cap in like 7 seconds. That, they give you that little handle. I can't talk about this. This is TV. What am I talking about?
You can do whatever. It's late night. Now, what do you do? I mean, what are you traveling? Are you traveling in a station wagon, or are you with a bunch of guys, or what?
You know what? Sometimes it's a bunch of us packed in a car, and then, you know, sometimes the venue that I go to will pay for travel, which is nice. But more often than not, it's just, you know, 2 or 3 guys in a car out there grinding it out. You know?
Yeah, back in the day, when we used to tour the East Coast with the band, we used to have one of those Scooby-Doo vans.
Right. Right.
And those were fun. You'd be with 4 or 5 guys and just have a blast.
Yeah, now we're in the Scooby-Don't van.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Now, you're involved with a lot of charities. What is it? Laughter Saves Lives?
Laughter Saves Lives is an organization. People can check it out, laughtersaveslives.org. And it started by a buddy of mine named John LaRocchia. He was a 9/11 responder, a New York Fire Department hero, like those guys all are, right?
Cool.
And what he did is after he retired, he started this comedy tour, and every show that we do, he dedicates it to one of his fire department brothers that he lost on that day. So we keep their memory alive with laughter, which I think is a great thing. Yeah,
that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Now, you know what? And when the last time I talked to you and I say, you've been ranting about college tuition, tuition, but you never tell me what the hell you're talking about.
Johnny, college tuition. I got, you know, my 3rd son is in his 2nd year of college. And one kid to go to school, $47,500.
I know, it's crazy.
You know how much of this I got to do to make $47,000? Like $47,500.
You got to rob the club when you're leaving.
It's unbelievable. And he tells me how tough it is. You know, he just came home. I took him out to lunch. He goes, "Dad, you know, college is tough." I said, "What's tough?" $47,500 for me. What's tough for you? You know. He goes, "Pop, I'm used to living in this big, beautiful house. Now I'm in one room with 4 other guys. I had to leave half my stuff behind. There's nobody to cook for me, nobody to clean up after me." Then I realized, Johnny, the light went on. I'd done my job as a father. I prepared my son for life as a divorced man.
Listen, it's tough. Kids are tough. Now listen, John, that's your time. Where can people find you on the internet? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Yeah, on my website is consolicomedy.com. I'm on Facebook, John Consoli Comedy, and on Twitter at Johnny Balls, JONEEBALLS. It's a long story. I'll tell you the next time I come back.
That's nice.
Thanks
Well, listen, I want you to come back in the new year, right?
Be my pleasure. Be my pleasure.
John Consoli.
Thank you so much.
All right. Order in my studio.